Hello, guys, and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer. We haven't done a video for what seems about 3 days, and that's normally a long time for us. So if you have missed us, I'm sorry. But we're back now. We are back. Guys, hit that like button. As always, hit that subscribe button if you already haven't. And if you're an Everton fan and you don't know about us by now, thanks to Mike, how do you not know? We're legends in the North now. We're legends in the Northwest. Guys, today we are going to do, we were going to do a video on just one Premier League manager who got appointed very recently. But then we've noticed so much going on, we thought, why don't we just do a whole roundup? So that's what we're going to do. Doesn't take a genius to work out from the thumbnail. We're going to look at Everton, Palace, Wolves, and Spurs. And Scott, there's only one place to start, isn't there?
I know you're buzzing about this one. Let's start with Spurs. Let's, of course, start with Spurs. Carlo Fonseca looks to be announced for the club. Weird one, isn't it? It's basically a managerial swap deal without the funding.
Yeah.
We're having a brief chat, but Spurs fans don't seem happy with this bloke. And the more you look into his record, I'm just more and more confused. I don't understand it. I really don't understand why they're not happy with him. Spurs have been criticising Mourinho. Let's get this straight. Spurs have been criticising Mourinho's style of play since the bloke joined the club. And they're now getting in a bloke that literally he said this in an interview before, he doesn't believe in counter-attacking football. He believes in possession. And he believes on attacking football, which is exactly what Spurs fans are asking for. And you look at his record, okay, he's not been a Premier League manager, but I really don't see the issue that some Spurs fans have. I'm not saying it's all Spurs fans, but a lot of seeing themselves not happy. They think they deserve Conte, which I'm just going to pass over to you, mate, because I know you've got a few things to say.
First thing I want to do, mate, is the pronunciation of Fonseca. You nailed that one. So, and anyone that watches us knows Scott can't pronounce Raul Jimenez properly, and he's been a player of ours for 3 years. So you nailed that. Yeah, Spurs fans, what can we say? Just embarrassing. I don't know what's happened with the water in North London, but Arsenal are getting outbid by Villa. That's no disrespect to Villa. I think we said on the last video, Villa are smashing it at the moment, both on the pitch and off it. Fair play. North London at the moment is just embarrassing. These Spurs fans I'm seeing all over Twitter, some of YouTubers as well, just having a go at this guy because maybe they've never heard of him. Or where have these Spurs fans that have crawled out the woodwork because you've got an NFL stadium, because you accidentally stumbled on Harry Kane because Tim Sherwood had no strikers and you got lucky with a world-class player? Pochettino came from Southampton, who did okay, smashed it for you. Where's the nerve of these Spurs fans? Who do you think you should get? Should you be taking Pep from City? Do you want Ollie or Ancelotti? Zidane? Spurs could be 12th in 5 years. You're not a big club. Let's be real. They're having a go at this guy who was at Shakhtar Donetsk, and a lot of these Spurs fans probably don't know anything about this person at all. I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about him because I didn't before his name was mentioned. But guess what? I've done my research on him. I've seen how he likes to play. I've looked at his record mainly, and it's actually good. But I guarantee these Spurs fans have gone, Fonseca, never heard of him. Shit. It doesn't work like that. This guy had a 74% win ratio. Not like results, as in not losing. 74% win ratio at Shakhtar Donetsk. He won the league 3 years in a row. He won their domestic cup 3 years in a row. He got them to the last 16 of the Champions League in his first season by beating Man City 2-1 in their last game. This guy has done a lot more than Nuno before we'd heard of Nuno, a lot more than other managers like a Pochettino before he came to Southampton. Just the nerve of these Spurs fans, I just don't get it. I'd be embarrassed.
Basically, what you're saying is this bloke has won more trophies. He's won more trophies than Harry Kane and probably Spurs in general.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to cut out Harry Kane. I'm not going to have a go at Harry Kane.
I know. It's just a funny, funny thing people like to say at the moment.
just the nerve of these people in North London at the moment. I don't get it. If a lot of them hate us, so what? Just Spurs. Imagine being a Spurs fan. You got more NFL stars at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium than football stars at the moment. Oh, it's just embarrassing. Like, let the guy come in and have a season. What did you say to me off screen, which I never knew? This guy said he doesn't like counter-attacking football and stuff like this. He wants to.
That now I said this on. I said it about 2 minutes ago.
I'm just so annoyed. I don't know what's going on anymore. I mean, I'm excited to see this Fonseca. I'll be honest. From what he said,
it was linked to. For those that are new here, we're like Wolves fans, so he was linked to as in the early days, really, before
it's Portuguese. That's why he's Portuguese.
Definitely. I think he was a second favourite. It could have even been favourite ahead of Lage at one point. And at the time, I think we both said I like the look of this guy, and I agree that Spurs need to give him a chance. But anyway, let's move on from Spurs. Where are we going next?
Let's talk about our old man, God, as he's known now in most of the country. Good old Nuno. His talks have broke down with Palace, and another man has taken the hot seat. Well, his favourite to take the hot seat, we should say, at Palace, and we'll come on to that shortly. But Nuno at Everton. So he was talking to Everton last week. That broke down. It then broke down at Palace, and at one point it looked like Nuno was going to get announced as the Palace manager. Didn't his odds go to 1 to 10 at one point or something?
Yeah, it's just been a proper confusing one because it looked like he was going to go to Everton, and that was pretty much confirmed. Yep. Then a day later, it's completely flipped to he's gone to Palace. It's pretty much agreed. Apparently, the Palace weren't too happy with the wages and a couple of other things that Nuno wanted, especially the wages of his backroom staff. As we know, Nuno has his own backroom staff. Something that Everton fans have been a bit cautious about because obviously they don't want the big dunk to, disappear. But I think Nuno will have to accommodate big dunk from what I've heard from Everton fans. They need to. I
don't agree with this. I mean, how long's Big Dunk been there now? Andy took the hot seat for a while. Didn't do brilliant, didn't do bad. But what you can do, just keep Big Dunk until he's 80. I mean, hopefully Big Dunk isn't watching this because he'll probably kill me. He's a big guy. But how long do you keep this man? What are you going to do if Pep wants the job? Sorry, Pep, you need Big Dunk. Come on, you got to be real. You've got to move on at some point, haven't you? Nuno's back.
Because a lot of Everton fans, they would actually want Duncan Ferguson. They feel that he should be the one to have have a chance. And
is that nostalgia?
I do agree. There comes a point that if Everton aren't going to bring him in and he's not the man, then you have got to say, well, has he always got to be a part of it? If you have found the ideal manager, and that's a stalling point. But I don't know. I think Everton fans will want him in the club to play some capacity, and I think Nuno. We know he has a backroom staff, but I'm sure there's probably some positions that he won't be bringing with him.
I don't know what the position is. Is he on the? Could he be on the board, maybe trying to help with the signings and outgoings, or does he want to help?
Isn't he? That's why they believe he should be. That's why they believe he should perhaps be given the chance, but. It's an interesting one to monitor, isn't it? But it looks like Nuno now, the odds have massively shortened again on him going back to Everton. We've already covered that before, haven't we? On, obviously the Blue Boys Network, where we said that I think it'd be a really good fit, especially with the players that Everton have. On our channel.
And here we covered Nuno with Moyes and Conte, didn't we? We were given this news a week and a half ago. So if you don't know, now you know. Join, sub, go and see the previous videos. We break news here. We don't just report it. Let's talk about the least interesting story of any managerial change this summer. Bruno Lage, I think it's pronounced, to Wolves. He's been given the job now. Let's move on to Palace.
We're not just stopping there.
We've told them what they need to know. Lage has been given the job.
See, I'm actually surprised that you didn't come on the street. In fact, I bet you were online yesterday trying to order a bloody Palace shirt, weren't you? You're one of
No,
these
because
that doesn't support Wolves anymore. You support Nuno.
I'm not going to buy a Palace shirt because Nuno hasn't been given the job yet. I mean, if he gets the job at Everton, I'll just join Mike on Blue Boys Network. I'll just be an Everton fan, yeah. If Nuno goes to Greece and manages Olympiacos, I'm Greek now.
Can I just give you one stat? Because you're not impressed with Lage, but Bruno Lage has actually won a Portuguese title, something that Nuno never did before coming to the club.
Yeah, I once got third place at a go-karting track. Does that as Bruno Lage? So should I get the walk? Come on, we gotta start being real at some point on these streams. Listen, I'm so disappointed about that. Obviously, I'm gonna support this guy from the first whistle. I said that when I got drunk on the first stream when Nuno got sacked. I'm gonna support whoever it is that gets the job, and it obviously is Lage now. I know less about this man than I do Fonseca. So
Similar in the fact that he likes attacking football. Some are saying are saying that perhaps he's going to have to realign that a bit in the Premier League. You know, a lot of people reckon, not just people that don't really know him. I think actual Portuguese journalists, they're all kind of saying that he will have to realign that and become a bit more defensive. Otherwise, it's just going to leave gaping holes in a. Let's face it, and not unless we make some centre back signings, he's not coming into the best defence anyway. So, he might have to realign. But I am excited about the attacking football, and it's going to be great to see what he can bring.
It will be interesting. It's always interesting for the first few weeks or months, however long it lasts, to see if there is a change and if it works. Of course, how do you think it will work based on the fact that because we have been so defensive over the last 3 years in our Premier League life, we were not defensive at all in the Championship, but it's a different kettle of fish, of course, in the Premier League. It's been drilled into our players, the bulk of our players, about defensive systems, working hard, tracking back, keeping shape for a long time now by Nuno. How do you think it will? Because I don't see a lot of business this summer for Wolves. I'm going to be honest. I see a lot of outgoings and big names as well, but I don't see much coming in unless it changes. So, do you think Bruno will be able to come in and just say this is how we're going to go? Is he going to go a 4-4-2, a 3-5-2 in a more attacking sense, a 4-3-3? Do you think it will work? Can you do that in one summer? Can you get a whole club's philosophy to change?
It's an interesting one, isn't it, that? Because we've spoke before on streams anyway about the fact that we wouldn't score in the first half, which has kind of been built into it feels like it's been built into the mentality of the team. It's a tough one, actually. It's almost a counter question here in a way to you. Do you think maybe we shouldn't be that nervous then? Because we have been told that we're not going to go out and spend loads, but anything that we do make will be put back into the club. So in that regard, do you feel like if we do lose a few of these names, which were like, what, you're getting rid of Patricio, what you're giving, Moutinho could potentially go back to play in Portugal. Neves obviously been suggested to go elsewhere. That's perhaps a bad example. But, if we do lose some of these players, is that perhaps the worst thing in the world? Because maybe that's what's needed to realign, and as long as we reinvest that money in the right areas, maybe we go again and it'll help bring that. Look, they're completely different managers, aren't they? So, what worked for Nuno, the same players that work for Nuno perhaps won't work for Lage.
So what you're basically saying is, and I hope you're wrong here, is that we could just be spending what we earn. It's a net spend. It's basically, and this is why I feel sorry for Arsenal fans as much as I like to take the piss. They've just had to sell and buy players with what they can raise, trying to get Ozil off the wage book, selling Sanchez like they did, getting Ramsey off the wage book, all these players. Some Arsenal fans are contemplating selling Aubameyang if you can get 30, 40 mil for him now. That's the point it's got for Arsenal. And of course, I'm not expecting Wolves to go out and spend 100 million net. Our net spend hasn't been bad. As much as people say we spend all the time, we don't. We actually don't if you look at the figures. But the fact that we might sell Adama for 40 and Neves for 40, then we spend 80. So is that what we are now? Or are we just going to have to sell to buy?
I think we've got the money available. The one thing that the club has alluded to, though, is of course financial fair play is doing us over. And I mean, look what a joke we've seen this week with the combined 20 million fine for those wanting to actually leave their respective leagues. I mean, we'll
do a whole new video on that.
You know, it's just one of them, isn't it?
We'll do a whole video on that because I probably wouldn't even want to do a video on that because it'll just bum me out. It's just disgusting, really. And then I think Championship clubs have been fined more than that. I'm pretty sure they have a lot more than that.
Yeah, Championship clubs have been fined. QPR obviously got fined a lot more. They're still paying that back to this day. A lot have been sent into administration, etc.
Luton have had big points deductions, and if they do it again, they get 30 points deduction. Maybe let's not talk about that anyway. I mean, we've spoken a lot about Wolves and Mr. Lage, which is probably what I'll call him from now on, unless he wins the league, and I'll call him Mr. Lage. Let's move on to Palace and a man that I know you love. You just love this man. His managerial credentials. I mean, to get Derby to a playoff final, wow, what a job! And got Chelsea top 4 with no budget. You know, basically, Frank Lampard's won the Champions League this season. Could you say that? Yeah, Frank Lampard, Palace again, because Nuno talks have broke down. He's gone back to favourite or second favourite, I think. I know you love him. You can't fight this, can you?
If I didn't pick up on it, that was a blatant sarcasm from James there. I am not a fan of Lampard at all, but it's kind of one that makes sense, doesn't it? Lampard to Palace, it kind of fits it. You can kind of see it happening. The Nuno one was an interesting one. I didn't think it made sense on either side. I didn't think it particularly made sense for Nuno.
Absolutely.
But you know, I was corrected. Like Palace fans still seem quite optimistic at the moment. But I fear for them. I really do. Obviously, Eze out for quite a while. The contract players. I got told by Ali the Eagle, who does Pride of South London Fan TV. He was telling me that apparently, you know, a lot of these out of contract players have got rather. It's not quite what it seems. They're still in talks with them and potentially would offer it based on the manager they get in.
Yeah.
But you never know, though. They're still free to go elsewhere if they get offered a better deal in the meantime.
Exactly.
I'd still be worried if I was a Palace fan. So it didn't make sense on the Nuno thing. But another point he made was that, you know, they've got a lot of good academy players. And I don't think that's Nuno's way of bringing through these academy players. As much as you love Nuno, I don't think that's really his philosophy.
I don't think you can rely on that anyway. I mean, you can't, even if Pep at City just decided to bring in 5 academy players next season into the team, he's not going to win the league as good as he is, or Klopp or someone like that. You know, you can't just rely on academy players, my God. You've also got to think the players that they've got that are out of contract in terms of leaving on a free transfer or whatever the case may be. Imagine if that happened and we lose, if they lose 4 or 5 players or even 3, what if they lost a Zaha or an Eze or both? If big bids come in, is the new manager guaranteed?
I think Eze's out to potentially the new year, so you're already, you've already got a long time. You've then got a couple of months, a young lad coming back from a new injury before you're probably going to see him back to full confidence. And Zaha just wants to go. He's wanted to go for the last 4 seasons, and eventually, you know, I'm still shocked. I'm a completely different thing. I'm still shocked he signed a 5-year deal or whatever it was, because a year later he was wanting to go, and he's been told you're not going anywhere ever since. But
it's that's why I've got no sympathy for Harry Kane. It's one of the reasons I have very little sympathy for Harry Kane. Like, you know, they moved into the NFL stadium and he signed, it's okay signing a contract for like 240 million or whatever it is, 220,000, sorry. But you sign a 5-year deal and you want to leave 12 months later, well, you're screwed. If you want that big money, you sign a big contract. And, you know, the one for Zaha was odd, really odd. Like, maybe he thought if he ran his contract down, there would be no big clubs come in for him, but Okay, let's say Arsenal didn't come in for you again if you had a bad season. Are you telling me that you can't get a team as big as Palace, like a Newcastle or someone like that? Of course you would. So, yeah, it's an odd one. Let's talk about Lampard specifically, though, rather than the squad, because we do agree no matter what manager comes in, the board needs to start making some signings soon, whether it's incoming or signing their current squad to deals. You don't think Lampard's the man to keep them up, do you? Let's say they keep their. Let's say Lampard next season has the squad that Roy had this season. Does Lampard keep them up?
I don't think he does. I feel like Palace are going through a period of change. They've had Roy for a long time. I feel they almost need an experienced manager to come in personally. I just don't see this being the project for Lampard. I really don't. And I think Lampard should potentially still go back to the Championship and earn his trade.
This could kill Lampard's managerial career.
It could. It really could. And I think I don't think, again, I don't like, just like the Nuno one, I'm not sure this is the right appointment for either of them, to be honest. That's not my honest take on it. One question on the whole Palace scenario in general, right? They knew that Roy was leaving. Take Wolves, as much as they knew that Nuno was going, and from what we're led to believe, they knew that Lage was the man they wanted, period. But Palace were even in an even better situation because Roy was just like, yeah, that's me done. I'm done with being a Premier League manager. Why didn't they have someone sign on the dotted line before the end of the season? Why wasn't that person announced 5 games before the end even? Like, I'm just so confused with this Palace situation, why they still haven't got a manager. Like, they've had ages to plan this.
Is it Parish? The chairman of Palace, yeah.
I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it is. Is it Steve? I'm gonna be wrong. Steve Parish, I think. I heard him do an interview about the ESL clubs about what does he think should happen. He just seemed a bit wet behind the ears to me. I mean, he's better than me at business and football. Obviously, he's a chairman. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of other chairman, he just seems a bit wet behind the ears. He didn't put confidence in me when he was talking about the Super League teams and what should happen, and he wanted to talk about getting a tighter community with the other 14 clubs. Just seemed like a bit of a sap. I'm going to be honest with you. So the fact that they haven't signed a manager where Roy has said months ago, I'm probably going to retire from football, and they're now scrambling around for a failed Championship manager. I don't know. I think a lot of people throughout this season said that Palace will struggle next year. I mean, we've spoken about the amount of players that are out of contract. Have you seen the age of their squad? My God.
It's just going to get worse and worse.
Just shocking. So I think whoever gets that job next season, it'll be a manager that's just begging to get a job in the Premier League. You think of someone like the first name that jumps to like a Marco Silva, failed at Watford, failed at Everton. He would jump at the chance to get a managerial job. You're looking at someone like that, really, aren't you? I can't see a semi-accomplished manager like an Eddie Howe. If I was Eddie Howe, I wouldn't be taking that Palace job because, again, that could really hurt your resume.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it's a weird one. Palace fans still seem pretty confident. I'll just be interested to know why, because...
Let us know, yeah, it's really interesting. Do you see how we see it from the outside looking
necessarily in? Right, I just don't see it. I don't see where this confidence is still coming from. Is there something that we don't know that they do? Yeah, let us know in the comments, and let's leave it there. We've spent nearly 25 minutes, and we know that people usually don't like the longer ones, but you know what? Anyone that has made it this far through, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.
Great outro as always. I love it. See you guys.